Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're taking another look at construction on the Broadway Subway Project located in Vancouver, Canada in July of 2026. For those of you who are new to this project, it's a 5.7 kilometer extension of SkyTrain's Millennium Line featuring 6 new stations, a 700 meter elevated section, and twin bored 5 kilometer tunnels. Costing just under 3 billion Canadian dollars, major construction started in May of 2021 with an expected opening in fall of 2027. In this video, we'll start at VCC Clark Station at the eastern end of the project where the current Millennium Line ends and head west towards Arbutus. Plus, we'll check out some of the notable developments along the way, such as the first phase of the VCC expansion across the street from the station. This one will be the new Center for Clean Energy and Automotive Innovation. Moving along to the 700 meter elevated section, since last time, the train control cables have been installed between the tracks and the center linear induction rail. These cables allow the automated control system to know exactly where each train is in real time. The yellow covers over the power rails are in place as well. Soon, the center cable trays will have their walkway cover plates installed. From under the guideway, we can see the cable trays, conduit, and equipment for the power feed point. With the track work complete here, dynamic testing started this spring, first with a Mark I train set, and then a Mark II. Now it's all about testing, fine-tuning, more testing, and making sure everything is working correctly. Here, some workers have a switch motor box open, which controls the movement of the point blades of the switch. Down in the works yard, a bunch of precast pieces for the tunnel walkways have arrived. And across the street, there's a truck with a load of road decks, but we'll see more on that in just a bit. While my invite to the Media Ride-Along event got lost in the mail, our man on the ground Arden English from the Greater Discussions YouTube channel got his. This happened at the end of May, not too long after dynamic testing started, and as you can see, it's pretty neat. The Mark I train was run back and forth from the tunnel portal to the pocket track. With the show and tell over, the access point to the guideway just before the tunnel portal is much more visible. Here we can see the mounts for the power rails are installed, but the power rails are not. This allows for better access into the tunnels for equipment, but also prevents any accidental power-ups between the testing and non-testing areas. At Great Northern Way Emily Carr Station, there's a lot of work underway. The site is being cleaned up in preparation to be handed over to PCI to build the 3 new towers and public plaza over top of the station. Storage tanks that were being used to hold and process site water are being cleaned out and removed. The pad that supported the silos for the tunneling operations is being dug out and removed. The headhouse's major concrete work is now complete. It's rather plain looking on the east side, but the west side will have nice large glass windows installed, and then the whole headhouse will be incorporated into the new public plaza. Looking inside, we can see plenty of conduit, pipes, and other mechanical systems being installed on the ceiling. And from the side, the steel elevator frame has been painted white. On the south end of the station box, the ventilation shaft has had its concrete work completed. Next, it'll be waterproofed, backfilled, and then the sidewalk grates will be installed. On the station box roof, the orange waterproof membrane is being installed. There are several pipes running along the outside of the box. It looks like they're part of the fire suppression system and might connect to sprinklers or other fire hose connections inside the station. On the north end, the emergency exit stairs are being built up. Moving along to Mount Pleasant Station, where the big news is that Broadway reopened on schedule after its 4-month closure to backfill the station box and rebuild the road. Its new configuration is 4 lanes wide, and it has nice wide sidewalks and space for planters and trees. Looking at it now, it's hard to believe that only 3 years ago it was a giant empty hole. Up at street level, the headhouse has had its steel frame erected. Then prefabricated wood roof panels were lifted into place. A waterproof membrane and roofing system will be installed on top of the roof to keep the rain out. Inside, we can see the steel frame for the elevator and the escalators down to the concourse level with protective covers. On the back side of the station are the large vent shafts. The head house has a rather simple design because it will eventually be incorporated into a future larger building on the site. On the west end, the emergency exit has had its stairs poured. At Broadway City Hall, the next major closure has begun. This one is scheduled to take 6 months while the road decks are removed and the street rebuilt. It started on the 20th of July between Cambie and Alberta streets. Just like Mount Pleasant, there's a bus detour running along 8th Avenue that's working pretty well. Most of the traffic has gone to other routes, leaving Broadway oddly quiet throughout. Anyway, onto the road deck removal. The actual deck pieces are easily lifted onto trailers by a large mobile crane and driven away. The larger beams that support the deck are first supported by blocking before being torched into smaller pieces that can be lifted and transported away. Both the decks and beams will be recycled. There are also a couple of shoring spreader pipes waiting to be removed. On the east end of the site, above where the diamond crossover is, a constant parade of dump trucks is delivering gravel to the site. On average, 100 truckloads are being delivered each day. After they unload into the pit, skid steers pick up and spread the gravel. Then each layer or lift is compacted before the next one is started. On the west end of the site, over the station box, there's still work that needs to finish before the area can be backfilled. Rebar and forms are still being set up for another sidewalk vent shaft. On top of the station box, there's an interesting concrete shape that looks to be some sort of utility conduit. We haven't seen anything like this at any other station, so if you know what it is, feel free to drop a comment. At the head house, the roof over the escalator hall for the Canada Line platform level has been completed and backfilled. Now all we can see is the new elevator shafts and the top of the escalator hall from street level to the Canada Line platform level. Rebar and forms are in place for a new wall directly beside the existing one. This is where the concrete was being chiseled away last time to allow for the rebar to be tied in. We can see the voids where the new access will be. Inside the station on the northbound Canada Line platform, there's a large area with a protective wood cover-up. That's where one of the new access points will connect. The connection point for the southbound Canada Line platform has had its major structural work completed, backfilled, and street rebuilt. Drivers now freely pass over it without knowing what's beneath. However, the new bus stop isn't quite ready yet. When done, the ride from Broadway City Hall to Commercial Broadway is expected to take about 6 minutes, down from the current 20 minutes on the 99B line. Before we move on, let's take a look at this photo from May inside a section of tunnel. While the limb rail wasn't installed yet, we can see many of the other systems and cables in place. On the right side, we have pipes for the fire protection system, lights, and the concrete base for the walkways with brackets on the wall that support the precast walkway slabs. On the left, there are power and communication cables hanging on brackets. At Oak-VGH, a different style of road deck removal is taking place. After the initial backfilling, concrete pads were poured underneath the center beams that support the deck. Steel cylinders were slid into place to support the beams, and then the beams were cut in half. Then part of the road decks and beams were removed, allowing the south side of the street to be built. Utility holes and storm sewer grates show us just how close they are to the final street level. And a couple of smaller ventilation shafts. In a way, it kind of looks like it did back when excavation was underway in July of 2022. The head house is in a very similar state to Mount Pleasant, with its steelwork complete and roof installed. Inside, we can see the steel elevator shaft, the entry structure, and the wooden roof panels. South Granville Station is having its road deck removed in the same way. There are still 4 lanes of traffic, but all the steel beams have been cut in half and are resting on the concrete pads. Most of the station box has been backfilled, with only the easternmost end still exposed, but covered in protective dimple mat. At the east end of the site, the vent shafts are structurally complete, with waterproofing and finishing being applied. We can see the rebar for the top steps of the emergency exit. The west end vent shaft is also complete with waterproofing applied. It's hard to believe that only 3 years ago, it was still being excavated under the road deck. Arriving at Arbutus station, the road deck is being removed in the same process. The old guardrail is being removed and a new barrier made of concrete blocks is being installed closer to the lane of traffic so another section of deck can be removed. The bulk of backfilling is complete, with crews now working around existing utilities. The large pipe here is the water main that runs along Maple Street. And another vent shaft is nearing completion. At the head house, most of the concrete walls at street level have been constructed. The majority of the street level structure will be built out of steel beams with large glass windows and prefabricated wood segments, just like the other stations. On the back side, we can see the large vent shafts that will exit through the roof. A white tent remains to protect the escalators and entrance into the lower levels. Here's an interesting photo from inside the crossover box just east of the station, looking east. Across the street, the site where TransLink's 31-story tower will be built has been fully cleared and had its official start to construction on July 29th. When done, it will have a direct connection to the new station through an existing knockout panel. Last time we said it would be here, but this is actually the emergency exit. And that concludes our look at the Broadway Subway Project in late July of 2026. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you all next time.